I should be making a video. Yeah, comment video. It's just so depressing. Opinion, then a quote mark. There's no closing quote anywhere. But anyway, theory is sound, but just reasoning overall effects in this logic, comma. I am predicting surprises for many. Gary, why compass points north rather than center of Earth? Well, because the center of the Earth isn't the South Pole. That's why. I mean, the magnets don't... two magnets, one magnet doesn't point to the center of the other magnet. They move into each other while they're opposite poles. I mean, why is that? There's nothing to explain. Why is it that magnets don't work the wrong way? Sorry. Show me how magnets behave some other way than consistent with what a compass needle does relative to the Earth, which is align itself with the poles. And it does in fact point a little bit down. The north end does point down because in the northern hemisphere, because you're closer to the North Pole, so it pushes down a little bit. Alright. It's actually the downward part that the birds' brains are reacting to. So they know which way to fly because of the down motion, not necessarily the direction motion. Anyway, magnetism is rooted in special relativity. Just where's your evidence of that? Do you have any proof at all? How do you rationalize such a nonsense statement? Magnetism is rooted in special relativity. There's absolutely there's no magnetism in special relativity. For a change in motion from a certain frame of reference, it has nothing to do with a magnet again, what appears to be purely electric or magnetic can appear as a combination of the two. It really doesn't work that way. Dipoles are different than monopoles. And if I have a charged object, it remains a charge. A negative charge, a positive charge. You can't make it look like something else. From another reference frame, no matter where you're looking at it from. Just gibberish. Also, an electron is not a magnetic monopole, says you. It has magnetic moment. Prove it. Show me one experiment where that's demonstrated. Show me one experiment that demonstrates a moment where an electron isn't negatively charged, where the electron says, I'm not no, I have to wait till my moment shows up. They're always negative. That's what they are all the time, 24/7 negative. They never switch to positive. They never turn off. There's no such thing as a magnetic moment. They never have a dipole moment because they're not a dipole, which is not the same thing. Well, frankly, I don't know even how to look. Also, an electron is not a magnetic monopole. It has magnetic moment, which is not the same thing. Which is not the same thing as what? I mean, the two things are obviously different. A magnetic moment and a monopole are clearly separate subjects. And monopoles don't have magnetic moments, and clearly I don't think an electron has a magnetic moment because it's always negative. So it's just, you're an idiot. Your explanation is simply not complete. Well, it is complete, so fuck you. You haven't demonstrated with evidence. So again, show me better evidence, or fuck you. This is what you're going to get as a reaction. You can't just make statements. You have to demonstrate them with some sort of logic and evidence. You can't just walk into court and say, I think he's guilty, I don't like him, he's guilty. No, you have to demonstrate it with some sort of argument that makes sense. You say an electron is not a magnetic monopole. Well, you show me where it behaves as anything other than that. Show me any experiment where it behaves as something else. An individual electron, not an atom. Okay, atoms have dipole moments. Electrons don't. Idiot. I mean, these people are just so fucking rude and stupid. Hi, enjoy your videos. Well, that doesn't mean much. I would like to know what you think about the following. As we know, dark matter is proposed to explain near lockstep rotation of stars around the center of the Milky Way galaxy. Well, lots of other galaxies, not just the Milky Way. It's not near lockstep anyway. And, you know, galaxies are obviously not consistent clumps of matter. I mean, clearly the mass of the galaxy, a substantial part of the mass of the galaxy, is obviously in the arms. It's not a solar system. The solar system has a tiny, sparse amounts of matter in it. Tiny, sparse. I mean, from a distance you can't see any of it. All right? No arms, no mass, very little mass outside of the sun in the solar system. Clearly the galaxy is completely different. And that's the simple argument to make. They're nothing like each other. A galaxy and a solar system just don't have much in common. Since gravity from a supermassive black hole at the center couldn't by itself account for the rotation, well, it's not the rotation that's a problem. It's the idea that if you have to not be collapsing into gravity, you have to have velocity tangential to the pull of the gravity. So if you don't have a compensating velocity, you fall in. And that's the argument. And the argument would be the stars are moving too fast for the amount of gravity. They should be shooting out of the galaxy. And that's exactly my point. They are, in fact, shooting out of the galaxy. Anyway, massive black hole in the center can account for the rotation we see. The gravity from the invisible dark matter. So again, you could sort of understand that the arm has a bunch of gravity in it. And so the gravity for the outside stars is much stronger than if all the mass was in the center, because the mass is being pushed out towards the outskirt sun. So you have a, oh, wrong camera. So you have a sun out here on the outside, and here's the middle of the galaxy. This sun, right, should be moving slower because it would fly out of the galaxy if it's going the speed it appears to be going. But the point is that the mass is in those arms, and so that mass is creating more gravity closer to the object. And proximity is really important because gravity degrades so rapidly. So the closer you can bring the mass to the sun, the more likely that is to create more gravity, more effect. So that's why the sun can be moving faster than the mass of the galaxy appears to be able to sustain, is because the mass of the galaxy has been moved out, logically. All right, at the center to account for the rotation that we see. The gravity from the invisible dark matter was supposed to be their fix. I don't think it fixes it. So anywhere else you add extra gravity does not lead to somewhat stable circular orbits. Yeah, and so they actually put the dark matter as a halo around the galaxy. It's really that silly. But that's actually what they do mathematically. They put the dark matter outside of the galaxy, so it's pulling the sun out, you see. I know it sounds preposterous they can get away with that, but that's what they do. They don't put the dark matter in the center of the galaxy. They put it around the outside of the galaxy. As an analogy, where could you add extra gravity to make Pluto keep up with Mercury? You could put it outside of Pluto's orbit, and then you could do it. Certainly binary star systems don't have planets with near circular orbits. Yeah, clearly that's another giveaway, in my opinion, that the galaxy is expanding, not contracting. That it's not collecting stuff from the outside. When you collect stuff from the outside, that's when you get ellipses. Because see, your sun is here, and the object comes in, and it always comes in uneven. You know, it can't come in at the velocity of a perfect orbit. So it just never happens. It always comes in uneven and gets looped around, so it always has an ellipse when the stuff comes from the outside. So galaxies do have very spherical orbits, which indicates that's something that would be produced by coming out of the planet, not being captured. And that would explain why galaxies are so round, is because the mass is coming out of the planet itself, so it has a very consistent with the spherical symmetry of the planet, that's what it's going to match. Much like us putting something in orbit. It isn't, when we put a satellite in orbit, it ends up in a very circular orbit around the Earth. It doesn't end up in an ellipse. Alright, don't have plans. The problem with the center produces, let's see, make Pluto keep over. Certainly binary star systems don't have planets with near circular orbits. Again, they do if the binary system ejects the material. Only gravity from the center leads to near circular orbits. No, you have to have collisions from the outside to get circular. But whatever. Whether it's stars and galaxies, planets, or solar systems, or electrons and nuclei. Well, no point in bringing up all that crap. But anyway, I agree with your point. That the fact that galaxies are spherical, are round. I don't know if spherical is the right word, because they're not three-dimensionally spherical. That they're a more perfect circle. They're not ellipses. The fact that the suns and galaxies are not flying in ellipses is an important fact. The problem is that gravity from the center produces slower orbits the further from the center you are. Well, the speed of the orbit will be dictated by how far away you are from the gravity, so you can't go, they always have to be matched. Velocity decides what orbit you have, whether you're a moon or a dust speck. Your velocity decides where your orbit is. A dust speck sitting right next to the moon, having the same velocity as the moon, will be in exactly the same orbit. I mean, it can't be in some other orbit without going away or falling in. As the gravitational force weakens inversely with distance. Anywhere you add the extra gravity from dark matter doesn't fix the galactic rotation problem. Well, clearly, if you can add it very creatively, you could fix it. So I'm saying mathematically that's what they've done. They've put it on the outside and given it motion. And, oh, here you even say the halo. Not even their proposed halo of it. Well, I'm just saying, obviously they seem to think they have math that can justify the halo. So not only does dark matter not exist, it doesn't even fix what it was made up for in the first place. Gary, I don't know what that means, but yeah, it is a joke. I mean, and the fact that nobody calls them on it is the sadder joke. You know, that they can get away with something so silly, making such a preposterous mess out of galactic physics, and the people with some sort of presuming to have some sort of knowledge of physics don't call them on it. Amazing. All right, Fiori Allah, or whatever that is. You and your videos make no sense. This is a Ken Wheeler sycophant. No doubt. Yeah, no, this is Electric Boom. Please stop and don't be an idiot more than you are. Probably another guy who's Iranian, right? So it's all about defending their kind. I mean, they're just such fucking racists. Because calling somebody a pussy makes you not only an idiot, but a pussy too. Well, I don't really think it works that way, you know. Yeah, it really doesn't. You know, I don't think you have any statistical data to demonstrate that every time somebody said asshole, that they were an asshole for recognizing an asshole. So yeah, I'd have to see data confirming that. And you can confirm it by your likes and dislikes. So if you think the likes and dislikes on videos has anything to do with reality, then you're dumber than I first had thought. You fucking idiot. Alright. Matthew Bassett. Asshole, no doubt. Here we go. I just keep this short so you can understand. Yeah, whatever. Fuck you till you're dead. Let's look at an EKG machine. Well, it's not much of a machine, frankly. It's just measuring the voltage, skin-resistant voltage. And electrocardiogram monitors your heart rhythm for problems. Well, again, it's not really a heart rhythm. It's just a cycle. the heart goes through. All right, there's a little thing called the pacemaker cells. They create an initiating spark. Go, little spark, not a wave, voltage. And then it cascades down the heart. And through that cascade, as the electricity just travels through the conductive heart muscle tissue, it triggers different muscle groups to contract. Not any more complicated than that. No waves involved, just voltages. Anyway, electrodes are taped to your chest to record your heart's electrical signals. No, they're actually taped to your appendages, your ankles and your wrists, which cause your heart to beat. No, there's only one signal that causes it to beat, and the beat is just completely built into the fact that the heart muscle has been built over millions of years and it works really well. And the signal goes across the surface of the heart and it triggers muscle groups to contract as it goes across, and then when it reaches the end, it cycles back to undo what it just did, like an Etch-a-Sketch. It just erases it all back to negative ions, and then it just goes positive ions, then it goes negative ions, and then it goes positive ions, and they're just a cycle. And all you're receiving in the electrodes is the voltage changes that take place when a muscle group deionizes. Let's see. Which cause your heart to beat. The signals are shown as waves. Well, how they're shown is just totally irrelevant. Clearly, I can have a voltage that goes from 1 volt. I can take a potentiometer and I can turn the voltage up, and I can turn it down. Now, if I looked at an oscilloscope, it would show me one of these dopey little wave signals going up and down, but there's no wave. there's just this higher voltage or lower voltage. I can make it look any way I want to. And so clearly there's just a voltage and there's a on and off. And that's what the heart has. So there's different voltages that can be read, different intensities when different muscle groups contract. And so there's an intensity or a flood of ions in the system. And those extra electrons, you could even look at it as. And so there's an amount of them, and there's a period of time that lasts. There's no waves. All right, which causes your heart to beat. The signals are shown as waves on the attached computer, monitor, or printer. Wow. Again, how they show them, like a seismograph. You think that's what the Earth is doing when what the seismograph is reading? No, it's just reading noises, contractions, vibrations, on-off signals. Okay, as above, so below. As below, so above. Whatever that rubbish means. No electricity in my body, bitches. Whatever that means. It's not about God. It's about what can be backed by experiments and observations. That's what would be my argument. So again, you don't have one single... We have videotape of a comet or asteroid plowing into Jupiter, and creating a plume and all that stuff. We have videotape of that. We don't have videotape of any electrical discharges. EU is the only model that makes everything start to fit together. No, nothing, absolutely nothing fits together. It's just a ludicrous pile of nonsense based on aggressive creationism. They start off with a project. Let's try to force the facts to match our biblical notions of reality. That's its agenda, plain and simple, and it's written all over their bad science. No respect for this person. Who cares? Thunderbolt Project, read, watch, learn, understand. Yeah, there's nothing to understand. There's absolutely, they don't say anything. It's all vague mush. Quote it. Quote something electric universe that means something. That's rational. Quote something. You won't be able to. Because it doesn't say anything. It doesn't explain how anything works in the universe. It's mush. Epigenetics, read, watch, learn, mind blown when it clicks. So this idiot thinks the non-evolving epigenetics, the fact that you can break eggs before they're fertilized, that is, you can rotten them, that is, you could starve a woman and her body will degrade her ovaries' function and protection of the eggs, and the eggs will be marginalized. They'll be corrupted, and she'll have a retarded kid. He thinks that's a positive thing. That's a positive force in nature. No, it's just another source of mutations. So 1 in a trillion of those mutations will be positive, but the vast majority of them will be autistic and retarded. You're just so fucking stupid. You can only break an egg. You can't improve your eggs. You can't improve your genetics by going, I'm special, I'm great, I'm wonderful, now my genetics will improve. You can't do any of that, asshole. All you can do is drink some alcohol or some lead paint or something stupid shit, and you can fuck up your cells. That's all you can do. And epigenetics is really just about women, because only women carry that part of the genetic code. Idiot. Do you understand that part, idiot? As above, so below. I mean, this is just... what is this? What does that mean? What is that little faggoty phrase? As above, so is below. Oh. So I say, so it shall be written. I mean, let's all just have, completely bizarrely queer catchphrases. Oh, fucking idiot. Halloween 111. I had an uncle that always claimed that after a few drinks his mind opened up to concepts that were so far past what other people could understand that he couldn't talk to anyone about them. In truth, he was just an egotistical and obnoxious drunk, yes. Theora Apocalypse manages to say the same thing without the alcohol. Maybe. Yeah, I don't even know how to I don't know what category to put it in. I mean, the jargon is just so obviously jargon. It's simplex, but not simple. I mean, it's just so obviously retarded that you're saying, how can anybody say that shit with a straight face? So, Silver Bear. So this is a Ken Wheeler video, no doubt. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you don't deserve to, Ken. Brilliance, right? I mean, it's just fantastic sentence construction. Blah, blah, blah. Sort of implying that somebody else can't say anything worth listening to. And then he types something totally idiotic. Yeah, you don't deserve to, Ken. Way to go, asshole. Way to just bury yourself in your own shit. We don't need your retarded opinions. We think you're actually retarded. Your vocab is bad. Oh right, yeah. I'm Ken Wheeler is so much better with his knuckle dragging crap. He calls a person, okay, inflicted with some disabilities, all kinds of obnoxious names. He's so inarticulate. I mean, what? How silly are you going to be? Your vocab is bad. You offer no explanations. Well, except that I've explained to you how the ferrocell actually works, retard. We understand you're very confused and couldn't even remember Tesla's name. Again, I'm not a Tesla fan, clearly. But it's clearly you people who don't understand what Tesla actually did. Okay? You think he invented AC current, which is retarded. You only want to talk to Ken for exposure. No, I want to talk to him just to, point out how he says nothing, he proves nothing, he has no evidence for anything he claims. It's just jargon and nonsense. We're entitled to understand what he means by light is a coaxial cable. It's a retarded statement. Exposure for your own gains. We don't give a shit what you think, you dumb fuck. Stop making videos. Yeah, well, obviously that's not going to happen, and clearly you're not very persuasive, are you? You really think that's a persuasive comment? So he talks about somebody's bad language and then says, you dumb fuck. I mean, hypocrite much? Yeah, hypocrite a lot. Pitiful. Alright, and then this Michael R. Pierce just wasting my time. His little whiny complaints. right audio channel is louder than the left audio channel. Well, that's right, because I have one of the channels pointed towards the video speakers for the purpose of kind of, having the video come from one speaker and me from the other a little bit. But it's not that important. But anyway, in this video and the previous video, this aggravates my OCD. Well, I'm sorry. I mean, you have a problem, then you have to take care of it. It's not my obligation to fix your problems. So I do the headphone jack trick where you plug it in halfway. Well, I don't know why you just don't change the balance in your computer settings, or I wish you'd just pretend you can grow up a little bit and stand it, because it's really not that big of a fucking obstacle to hearing a video. I mean, it's such a minor inconvenience. Halfway to get mono input instead of stereo input, which makes the volume even on both channels. If you can fix your microphone, I suggest figuring out how to encode your video, audio, and mono. I don't encode these videos. The whole point is not to have to do any of this extra editing or nonsense, jackass. Excuse my French, but really. Yeah, sorry. I mean, these complaints are just so frickin' whiny. But I'll leave that one up there. Go ahead, be a whiny bitch. So anyway, alright, so probably enough of a video. So I will probably in the next video, I'm going to probably rag on this Baldy Cats guy. He did this horrible humor video. I suppose it's supposed to be some kind of humor. But just horrible. In the last 60 seconds where just showed he's an ignoramus. I mean, fuck. But he's not gotten back to me on my request to interrogate him on his physics, and so I guess that's not going to happen, which is disappointing. I mean, we did have this whole little comment exchange, and he never did email me, so I guess he's sure, sounds great. I guess that wasn't true. So anyway, I have to find somebody with some bigger balls. A physicist who's not afraid to be embarrassed by a rank amateur. Anyway, I assume he's a physicist. I mean, now I have my doubts that he has any kind of physics knowledge, just because this last video is just so stupid. So, I don't, I think he's a rank amateur. Anyway, so that'll be the next video. Somewhere tonight, I suppose. So, yeah, that's it. Till next time and such.